Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. You'll notice I'm really cranking out some work here because there's actually less and less news about women behaving badly. I know it's crazy, but I think that's because there's now the hardcore push, the hard push to rein in the narrative that is trying to cross the country. Across the world, really. At one point in time, we were told that you can hear the information and then you can decide how you feel about it. And then slowly news agencies and other places, people that write articles online, everything else, they said, well, here's some of the news lightly edited to make our view of the world seem like the correct one. And here's how you should feel about that. And then we moved to kind of the same thing, but here's the news heavily edited, and we're going to just lie to you. And if you don't believe what we're saying, you're insert awful person here. One of the isms or the, whatever else, phobics or whatever. So that's where we're going now. And the reason why I do want to keep kind of talking about this on the channel is because we're getting to that point now where you don't know what to believe anymore. You don't know what's going on, who to believe, who to trust, where to go for a good news source. And I think this does have a lot to do with being a good bachelor. And I know some of you guys always click on my crazy stories the most, but over the last week, I noticed more of you looking at like the Facebook Meta story I did, the trucker story that I did, because it's not the silly, fun lady stuff, but this is stuff where men are stepping up and guys are coming forward saying, "Guys, we need to get some truth out here. Like, we need to be able to give the information to the people, and then the people make their own decisions instead of having the government or the media or the news tell you how to feel." And that's why I wanted to talk about this story today. And this is one of the reasons why I keep pushing you guys to go over either to Rumble, which is a better source than YouTube, or Locals, which is the best source as far as watching my content, because I also do news stories over there. And I'm not going to get all into the politics and things like that, but I want to be left alone, and I want to be a free man. And if I want to hear somebody speak, then I should be able to listen to them speak, no matter on what topic, from whom. And I found that I'm getting my news now from people like Russell Brand and Tim Pool and Joe Rogan and Jimmy Dore and Steven Crowder and Elijah Schaefer, and I'm trying to think, Sidney Watson, on both sides of the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro. Like, I want to hear all the news. But the problem is today, it's like, well, here's what we think, here's what we think, here's what we think, and then somehow you have to filter through all that to figure out how you're supposed to speak. Well, Joe Rogan is one of the people that comes out and says, I'm going to ask a lot of questions. Some of the questions are stupid just because maybe he's not up to date on a topic. And he even says, look, I'm completely stupid about this. I'm dumb about this. I don't know anything about it. You tell me what you think about it. And a lot of people are attacking him for that. And first it was about the bug. And then because he's got 11 million people that listen to every episode, or on average every episode. CNN, MSNBC, some of these news outlets, they have, I think one demo said 175 to 400,000 or 500,000 per day or per episode of whatever viewer they've got on. So Joe is a risk. And Joe is a risk because he's not telling you how to think, and he's not towing the company line. And so they're going after him. And I think this involves us guys again, because here's a man, whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether you agree with him, whether you disagree with him, he's just saying what he wants to say. And recently, not only did he have his own interviews and interview people that the current establishment doesn't care for, but they went through the last 20 years of his videos to find things that he said using the certain N-word. And they took him out of context, and he was in many cases reading lyrics to things, like rap lyrics. He was having a discussion of why is it okay some people can say this word and the other people can't. And they took it out of context, and just because he uttered the word, they said, of course, he's racist. What's interesting is Joe Biden has also said the word, but they never talk about that. Other comedians, they've said the word. Other comedians have put on black makeup all over their face and made fun of people. They didn't call that out. Why? Because, well, you see, some of them are on the right side of the establishment message. So I wanted to talk about Joe, and this actually has to do with something with the Manosphere. It's very loosely connected, but you can see the same thought same thought process, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Guys, again, join me over on Rumble. Links are down below. Join me on Locals. Links are down below, because I can only do so much here on YouTube anymore. And again, here's from Elijah Schaefer. Now, if you talk about or do videos about the great, and then, of course, you have to tag on the last word there, reset. When you do videos on this stuff now, YouTube is putting up links to Wikipedia, which we know is not a reliable source. They only let certain people edit certain articles, and it's only allowed to, again, convey the message. So now YouTube is, again, anything that goes against what the government and or the news media determines you can hear and you can decide for yourself. First, it's just, recommendations like this. Then they remove the content from YouTube. Then they do stories about how anybody that talks about this is one of the isms and the rest of it. And, I hate that this is where society is going, but all you have to do is see the stories they've done on the trucker convoy up in Canada. I've watched probably now from Viva Fry and some of the other creators, I've watched 30, 40 hours of live streams, both daytime and nighttime, and I see kids. I see little kids and moms carrying around their babies, and husbands and people singing and dancing, people of all walks of life, all colors, all backgrounds, getting along, hugging, flying flags, having a good time. But if you look at the mainstream news, they're just completely lying about it. They're completely lying about it. And so, they call it the summer of love, but now they're calling this the winter of hate, when it's actually the opposite. So Joe Rogan's under attack. He's under unprecedented censorship attack. And here's the good news. He's never been happier. So, of course, they show him here with Mr. Alex, all my conspiracy theories have been proven correct, Jones. And they say, despite coming under a sustained and unprecedented censorship assault from the establishment, it will come as a surprise to some that Joe Rogan is more defiant and happier than ever. Rogan's Spotify podcast has come under repeated attack over the last few years by the establishment due to the comedian hosting doctors and other commentators who have challenged the official narrative. This was compounded over the week by another contrived controversy after a number of clips of Rogan saying the N-word in conversation were edited together, again, taken out of context. However, after radio host Alex, can't say the two names together, Jones, spent the evening with Rogan, his friends for 20-plus years, after Rogan's stand-up show at the Vulcan Gas Company Club in Austin, it was immediately apparent that Rogan feels more positive than ever about his role in the fight against cancel culture. Rumors of Rogan's demise have been greatly exaggerated, with Jones reporting Rogan has never seemed happier, more focused, and more energetic. The UFC's commentator buoyant mood was exemplified by his 2-hour show at the Vulcan, during which he debuted new material that went down like a storm. Just as the Gutenberg printing press created free speech renaissance and obliterated the establishment's monopoly of control, Rogan is enthused at the prospect of embracing the role as a torchbearer for the protection of free speech in the 21st century. By trying to make an example out of Rogan by attacking his credibility, the establishment is merely projecting its own credibility crisis as viewing figures for legacy media outlets continue to plunge, while overall trust in the media remains at rock bottom. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing here. This is from Paul Joseph Watson. He's one of the creators that has moved over to Locals. He has a Locals account as well, as does Viva Fry, who's done a lot of the live streams on the Truckers Convoy. A lot of people are moving over to Locals because it's just like, hey, we just want to say what we want to say. Love us or hate us, agree with us or disagree with us. Just let us speak our mind. Well, what's going to come next for Rogan, I have a feeling, is since Spotify backed him up and said, no, we're not taking him off, next they're going to go through and they're going to find anything he said that's bad about women. And then anything he said, and when I say bad, it's that he's maybe cracking a joke, maybe saying something. He's a comedian. I mean, that's what they do. And then they'll go dig up the last 20 years as if this has anything to do with today's, anything about the alphabet community, about whoever else. And they're just going to keep pushing until he gets canceled. And then maybe he moves to a different platform or creates his own platform. But he's not going away. And I have a little bit more to talk about on this topic, but this is why I think this is similar to the Manosphere, about to red pill content, about to independent thought leaders or creators. And I don't want to give the impression I'm a thought leader. By no way am I. I'm an idiot. But I kind of like to. The reason why I appreciate Joe is because he's like, hey, just like let me throw some stuff at you guys, give you something to think about. Agree, disagree, I don't care. That's up to you. And, do with it what you will. And that's why I like Joe. But that's the same way they're treating the Manosphere here. Coach Greg Adams, I think Kevin Samuels now. Myself, they're kind of targeting after. Undead Chronic, TFM, Sandman. Everybody that's had years and years of this content coming out, eventually YouTube cracks down. Eventually YouTube starts shadow banning it, then demonetizing, then removing, then banning. It's not going to stop it from getting out there. All it does is it shows that if you fear what a man says, you're going to try to cut out his tongue. But it doesn't make that man a liar. It just shows, and I know I'm butchering the quote. I'm not trying to do the quote, but the idea is there. Is that if you fear what a man says, by cutting out his tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You're proving you fear what he says. And intelligent, smart people notice this, and they say, well, now I want to hear what's going on even more. Now I want to know what they're talking about even more. And that's what's happening in this instance. The more that they attack, the more that they lie, whether it's the trucker convoy, whether it's different things all over the world, the more that they lie to you, there's a point in time where even the most staunch follower of CNN, MSNBC, Fox, MS or ABC, CBS, whatever, even the most staunch supporter, all it takes is one or two stories for them to say, wait, I actually was there, or I know somebody was there, and I actually know the truth, and you are lying. Once that happens, that's it. The narrative is done. Like, no one will believe you. So the only direction you can go is down. The only population growth you're going to have as far as viewership is either down or new people. And new people will only stick around so far. That's why legacy media, we used to call it mainstream media. It's now legacy. It is dying. It is literally dying on the vine. And that's why I very rarely say, look, here's how you should feel. Here's how you should feel about the Manosphere. Here's how you should feel about women. Here's what's right. Here's what's wrong. Here's what's hard line. Maybe I've said that in a couple of things, but I'll say, look, hey, you do you. Don't get married. But if you do get married, do X, Y, Z. I still think it's a bad decision, but do X, Y, Z. There's married people that watch this channel because I'm not coming at this from a poisonous view, and neither is the Manosphere. Some of them make fun of stuff, like Undead Chronic. He roasts people even more. But the point is that the harder you push to get rid of it, the more people say, what's going on over here? And I think when they go for they go for Rogan, they go for me, they go for other content creators like it, they go for conservatives, then they go for liberals, then they go for anybody that's not far left. And it's just going to be a continued push. And here's the thing. If you are far left and you still believe the mainstream narrative, you understand something. Either the government is always truthful with you and has never lied throughout history, or you find all the times the government lied, what makes you think this time would be any different? And so, again, I'm not telling you what to think, and you think whatever you want to think, but at a certain point, your eyes have to be getting more and more open to understanding what is going on with the narrative that is being pushed out there. Well, just like I've talked about going over to Rumble, Rumble offers Joe Rogan $100 million for 4 years with no restrictions on their platform. So Joe Rogan's in a win-win situation. Spotify keeps him. He anybody that supports him and has listened to him for any length of time knows he's a legit dude. They continue to listen to him. They continue their Spotify subscription, and the left gets outraged. Or Spotify crumbles. They release Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan comes over to Rumble. Not only does he make $100 million bucks over 4 years, but he further legitimizes Rumble, which means ultimately Rogan went from YouTube to Spotify to Rumble. He just further legitimizes Rumble. And that's not to say that Rumble some day won't do something, but that's also why people are on BitChute or people are over on Odyssey. I've been over on Odyssey forever. Just everything I upload to YouTube automatically gets backloaded to Odyssey. Over on Odyssey. Ironically, I have more viewers over on Odyssey than I do Rumble, but on Rumble, I can actually make an income because I'm monetized on Rumble. Odyssey doesn't really give anything. So that's why I push Rumble in locals for all that. Oh, while I do think of that, I have here in my hands, yes, I blacked out my address so you can't see it, because all the ladies would come stalking me because I'm so beautiful. I have right here information and plans on steel buildings and insulation and getting a slab poured and stuff for the man ranch. I don't know what I'm going to call it, the Dude Ranch. That's probably what it'll literally be named, the Tennessee Dude Ranch. I'm getting that stuff together. So anybody that supports me over on Locals, you are supporting that. So Joe's got some backup there. But here's the thing, Jimmy Carr is, he makes fun of people that don't mask up. He makes fun of people that don't mask up. He makes fun of people that haven't gotten the jab. Like, he is I believe, a left-leaning individual, but if not, he's at least kind of in support of what the governments have mandated to do when it comes to the bug. Well, he told one joke they didn't like, and I don't even know what the joke was. I just have seen this story all day on Twitter. Jimmy Carr's joke was funny, and if you don't agree, so what? And British comedian Jimmy Carr is under a fire for making a dark joke. I'll open that in a new link so I can read it after this. During his recent Netflix special, Here's the Crack, when people talk about, okay, I'm not going to read the joke or talk about that stuff because that's, I can't, I don't want to get into that portion of it because that's not the part of this video. But someone put the clip up on social media and all hell broke loose. And they started calling him names. And even the British government apparently said, they said that they think that he should be held responsible and perhaps even arrested over the joke. And anybody that laughed at the joke should be arrested as well. See, when you start hearing politicians talk like that, you better get scared, and you better get scared damn quick. Because we are sliding. We're not even sliding into 1984. We're running and doing like a flying tackle into 1984 that is also falling into Fahrenheit 451 and Brave New World and Atlas Shrugs and all these other like dystopian stuff is just legit here. And if you say, you know what, I'm not going to watch you anymore because you've mentioned a tiny bit of politics that I disagree with, Joker, well, then go away. I don't care anymore. We're at the point where you have to decide, are you for freedom or are you for government lockdown? Are you for speaking your mind or are you up for censoring everything in the world? And the people that say, I'm fine with censoring and I'm fine with removing this quote-unquote hateful rhetoric off the internet. Someday the stuff you support is going to be considered hateful. Someday the stuff that you support and that you're good for. And everybody that says, oh, we need to give government all this control and all this power. What happens if the person you don't like and the person that you hate gets into office? Are you going to instantly turn right back around and go, oh my God, the government, the person or the people that I don't like are now in control of the government? The world is burning down. We need to stop this. No government control. Well, if you sit back just for a minute and say, you know something, if a government agent or somebody gets in control of my media or who can censor who or whatever, if they're the ones that get in charge and I disagree with them, I would not like that. Okay, then if you agree with the people that are in control now wanting all the power, when that changes, they still keep the power. The individual freedom of people matters the most. And for you as men, especially, this should matter the most. Can you imagine if governments come in and say there's a bachelor tax, or you need to do, you need to have 1.5 kids or 2 kids statistically to get the population up, or we're going to fine you. Or if you're very successful because you're a single man and you don't have kids and you don't have all these other distractions in life and you solely put yourself into work and focus and making money and being successful, we're going to tax you at a much higher rate so you can pay for all the single moms, so you can pay for all the programs for people because they made bad decisions in life. That's what you're voting for. I want to be left to my own autonomy. And if you guys do too, you're going to have to start paying attention. That's all I'm saying on this stuff. Okay, that's the audio from Jimmy Carr's joke. I'm not going to play that, but I'm going to watch it after this because I want to know what's going on. So, guys, I don't have a dating profile of the day for this one. I wanted to crank this out real quick because everybody's getting their thoughts out there about Rogan. For me, it's less about Rogan. This is really not so much a story about Rogan. It's a story about suppressing people that want to talk and express ideas and share and just put things out in the atmosphere and let people absorb them if they want to. And if they get to the point where they take down the Manosphere, then they take down anybody that's critical of this and critical of that. And pretty soon, you're going to be able to sit here and listen to stories about kitties and puppies. And maybe I'll have a farming channel once my building and my land. I'm looking up tractors online now. I'm going to try to clear my own land and maybe do my own crops and stuff like that. Maybe I'll just have a farmer's channel. Maybe I won't do this content on YouTube over anymore. I don't know. But so guys, just remember, even if you agree with the censorship because who's in power now, what happens when they're out of power and the people you hate get in? Because then they're going to the government never gives up that control, and then people that you don't like or you don't agree with are going to be in control, and then they're going to come after you.